Welcome back. Earlier today, the Namibia National Students Organisation, NANSO, hosted its Green Carpet event under the theme International Opportunities for Namibian Youth. Now, the event seeks to uproot various opportunities available to the Namibia youth at an international level. And joining us with all the details is the Secretary of Mobilisation, Recruitment and Special Programs at NANSO, Phillipus. Hamunyela. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Let's start with talking about what the rationale behind the NANSO Green Carpet event is.
Thank you for the question. Ideally, this has been an idea we've had in the pipeline over the last few months. Ideally, what the Green Carpet event aims to achieve is bringing young people together, having intergenerational dialogue, and ultimately what we seek to do is to give people or young people access to information. So we really want to create a platform where we can host young people, bring in young professionals, really to come and dissect what it is, their profession, industry experts, really come and tell young people what it is they do, how you can become whatever profession it is, be it a chartered accountant, and really bring the information down to the most basic of people. The issue we have identified is statements that go on that say young people in Namibia are lazy. I want to really debunk that statement. I think young people in Namibia don't have access to information. The most basic people in the most basic rural areas in the country. And what this event really aims to do is to bring information right to the people. So we look at having hosting a series of this event going forward, or a series of green carpets going forward, and ideally, if the situation allows, seeing how we can take it to rural towns across the regions in Namibia.
Awesome. And what opportunities do exist, for young Namibians internationally?
There are a number of opportunities that exist. Today's discussion looked primarily at the opportunities that exist for young people internationally. We were graced by the presence of the resident coordinator of the United Nations to Namibia, Ms. Fororo, amongst others the executive chairperson of the National Youth Council, Ms. Shanice Bush, and the Deputy Minister of ICT, Honorable Emma Teofelis. And the conversation really looked at some of the scholarship opportunities that are available for young people, some of the work programs available for young people, some of the conferences available for young people. And one I think that Namibian youth need to look out for is the Young Professionals program offered by the United Nations. And what we plan on doing as an organization, something we're going to roll out in the upcoming weeks, is we are going to have a tab on our website, which is www.nanso.org, where we will then list all the opportunities that are available to young people internationally. I think we are privileged enough to have former NANSO members, people who've been through the ranks and files of NANSO, who now take up space in government positions locally, internationally, serving non-profit organizations, who are then able to provide us with information of some of these opportunities. But to mention a few, the Young Professionals program offered by the United Nations, and then young people should stay tuned to our website, where we will then list more opportunities as they arise.
Yeah, I'm going to assume that the opportunities that you have mentioned are in the formal sort of employment and career sectors, and if that is the case, you mentioned, of course, also earlier how youth in the rural areas are disadvantaged because they don't have information. But what would it help to bring information to them of this nature if they're disqualified? If it is what I just mentioned, correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay. Maybe to start off, these opportunities are not necessarily limited to working only. There's several and numerous of opportunities that provide full funding scholarships, or fully funded scholarships to study in international countries. And I think Namibia is blessed to enjoy good bilateral relationships with majority of countries that really offer some of these opportunities. And one that is sort of a hot topic now is the green hydrogen one as well, which is fully funded for masters and TVET. So
So what are the future events, look to focus on?
So our next upcoming event the next upcoming Green Carpet would necessarily look at looking at a specific industry. Today's discussion was simply international opportunities available. Our next discussion will look at a specific industry, seeing what professions operate in that industry. I think something we've also really realized is, and you only tend to see it the deeper down you go into the country, and we're privileged to operate in all 14 regions in Namibia. You start realizing that there is perhaps a mindset change that need to happen amongst young people in rural Namibia, and you realize that a lot of young people only aspire to be what is normal to them. Perhaps going to a TVET, becoming a teacher, police officer, doctor, nurse. Really the limit, or the not necessarily to say ordinary, but perhaps the more crowded professions. And what we look to do is to really try and see if we can't dive into those niche markets, niche professions that Namibian learners, students in ordinary Namibian wouldn't necessarily have access to know such information of what are the requirements for you perhaps to become an aircraft engineer or whatever the case might be. So we're still busy with the drawing board, putting the ideas together to see really how informative the next Green Carpet event can be, but it would definitely look into a niche market or profession, and look to bring in young professionals from different walks of life, be it Namibians international, so they can share the story of how did you do it, what is required, and perhaps maybe tied with that, there are also some opportunities for Namibians to access that form of education internationally. Yeah. Fantastic.
Well, Phillipus, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for joining us this evening.
It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Nina.
That was Phillipus Hamunyela, who is Secretary of Mobilisation, Recruitment and Special Programs at NANSO, speaking to us about the event earlier today that took place, known as the NANSO Green Carpet event.